Hello, I'm Alexander, and today we'll take a look at the new budget IEM from Moondrop called LAN. The sample for this review was kindly provided by Shenzhen Audio in exchange for my honest review. As always, I'm not paid to say anything in particular about the product, and all thoughts and opinions in today's episode are my own. LAN is a new budget IEM from Moondrop. It features a 10mm dual-cavity dynamic driver with a beryllium-plated dome composite diaphragm, steel shells, and detachable cable. The headphones come in a large carton box with a slipcover. On the front of the box there's a typical waifu, which I'm not big fan of. On the back of the box there's a list of technical specifications and a frequency response graph. In the box we have Moondrop LAN IEMs, detachable 0.78mm 2-pin cable, 3 pairs of silicone ear tips, small pleather carrying pouch, user manual, and a waifu postcard. Impedance of this IEM is 32 ohms, sensitivity is 124 dB. LAN has quite an interesting design. The shells have an oval shape with a small platform that hosts the recessed 2-pin connector sockets. The shells are made from steel, they are polished and have a delicate surface with matte finish, and there is a flower petal design etched on both faceplates. Surprisingly, no usual left-right channel markings can be found on the shells. IEMs have 2 vent holes on the inside part of the shell, one near the nozzle and the other one close to the edge of the shell. The nozzles are metal too, they are 5mm in diameter and are average in length. There is a metal mesh at the end of each nozzle and a small lip that helps with ear tips retainment. Overall, the build quality is decent and the matte finish looks good. Now a couple of words about fit and comfort. The shells are medium in size, but I wouldn't call them too ergonomic. The shells are made from metal, there's only one sharp edge near the connectors, but when inserted in the ear, luckily there's no contact with this edge. The nozzles are average in length, but fit is kind of shallow, and I spent some time trying to find a good fit and good seal with stock ear tips. Finally, I switched ear tips to Dunus Stage and Studio ear tips, and that fixed my fitting issue. But your mileage may vary. I've been using this pair for extended periods of time, and while it's not the most comfortable pair of IEMs, they're definitely better than some of the competition. The cable that comes with this IEM is 1.2 meters long. It's a simple cable wrapped in a clear plastic sheath. It has an angle 3.5mm on one end and 2 0.78mm 2-pin connectors on the other ends. The right connector has a red ring on it to indicate the right channel. The cable has a round metal splitter and pre-molded ear hooks, but there is no chin slider. The cable is soft and low in microphonics and it does its job just fine. Now let's talk about the sound. Please note that all sound impressions that I'm sharing on this channel are completely subjective, so please take them with a grain of salt. LAN is fairly easy to drive and I had no issues driving this pair from my Samsung Galaxy S10. LAN follows the virtual diffusion sound field target that many of other Moondrop IEMs follow too. The bass on this pair is surprisingly good and it offers a solid bass response for most genres. Sub-bass has got a good extension, authority and rumble, and it's more dominant on this pair than mid-bass. The mid-bass has just enough of a weight, yet those who love a very punchy and solid bass response may find the mid-bass lacking a bit. Bass details are surprisingly good. The speed is moderate, overall the bass is well controlled and quite resolving for a pair of budget IEMs. The mid-range on LAN is natural and organic. There is no bass bleed into mids, and this helps to keep the mid-range clean and articulate. But at the same time I have noticed that the mid-range can occasionally sound thin. Vocals and instruments have organic timbre, but they lack some note weight. As usual for this type of tuning, the upper mids are better pronounced and detailed, but luckily they're not shouty at all. Overall, despite lacking some note weight, the mid-range doesn't sound distant at all. The treble on LAN is sparkly, energetic and detailed. I wouldn't call it sibilant or harsh at all, but it's got a nice amount of sparkle and energy that will definitely make treble-sensitive people a bit nervous. At the same time, thanks to the treble extension, the details and micro details are surprisingly good for a pair of budget IEMs, and the treble perfectly complements the overall tuning of this IEM. LAN has a surprisingly wide soundstage and music sounds mostly out of your head. The depth of the soundstage also impressed me at first. The presentation is spacious and the imaging is on point. Instrument separation is great for a pair of budget IEMs, and I can say that LAN punches above its weight in this department. Resolution is decent, and that's another field where LAN is better than many other competitors in this price range. I have also compared LAN with two other IEMs from Moondrop, and that being Chu and Aria. I personally preferred LAN over Chu both in terms of sound, design, usability, and of course stock cable. To me, LAN sounds more refined and resolving, and it's better tuned than Chu, especially in the treble section. On the other hand, LAN just can't beat the Chu's value for money, despite the fact Chu has a non-detachable and tangly cable. Compared to Aria, LAN sounds like its younger sibling, and I think Moondrop was right positioning LAN between Chu and Aria price-wise. Aria is just a better IEM in every way. It has a more mature tuning, better bass extension, more natural and full mid-range, and relaxed yet resolving treble. Let's summarize. In my opinion, Moondrop LAN is a very solid performer that punches above its weight in some departments. It has quite an organic and lively sound signature, good bass extension, sparkly treble, and a good technical abilities for its price. Pros: good design and build, neutral and organic tuning, good sub-bass extension, great treble performance, and impressive soundstage. Cons: mid-range sounds a bit thin, vocals and instruments lack some note weight, and the IEM can sound too analytical on some occasions. Overall, I think Moondrop did a good job with LAN, and I can easily recommend it to those who seek a neutral, bright, analytical sound signature on a budget. Alright guys, that's all from me for today, and I hope that you enjoyed this review. If you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to my channel and click the bell icon to receive new video updates. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.